I don't know. When's the last time we've seen Oogie from Nullside? It's like a while.
It does fit, yeah. I mean, that's a hero that they really kind of splashed onto the scene with, I feel like, too. So that's a good point. It does feel like maybe it's been a little bit, and well, we'll see if maybe we get any attention of it here, but who knows?
Yeah. So we'll wait and see. First pick Magnus, though. Something that Nullstone really do like to do, though. They have two great Magnus players. Fuzzy and Oscar are both very good Magnuses. They either play at mid or suicide, depending on what they else have on the draft, actually. So, yeah, it's a good start here. Swiftblade, though. Followed up.
Swiftblade on top of the Magnus, so yeah, see the Andro and Midas so far. Again, guys, so let's talk about also the significance of this match overall, not only for good to get victories for either team, but both of them are still in the hunt, of course, especially SolC Club with 1-1. But looking at the brackets here now, again, Sync Esports, they're already moving on. So it's a matter of which of the other three teams is also going to be joining Sync Esports. Now, we kind of broke this down yesterday. If things play out the way as Nullstone Gaming getting a victory here and then eventually losing to Sync Esports, that means we would have a three-way tie. And again, that would come down to the kill-to-death assist or kill-to-death ratio, as we mentioned earlier, how to break the three-way ties there. So, and if that's the case, that really makes this matchup not only more important on the victory for Nullstone, but making sure you get a lot of kills and don't die too often on top of that. So, to help your chances, of course. But that's that's where things stand. That's where things stand. So Reason Gaming sitting on the sidelines, and they're gonna have to watch. Now, if SolC Club wins this, it's them and Sync Esports no matter what. So a lot riding on the line here as far as the matchup.
So let's pick up Clanks, though. A pretty useful hero, seeing as Nullstone don't have the greatest of heroes that can really get into the back lines of Clanks just yet. I mean, Swiftblade is okay against Clanks, not because he can get to the back lines, but because obviously he has the Blade Frenzy that can stop a lot of the magic damage from Clanks. Magnus is pretty useful, so he can get through with the Portal Key, but very easily cancelled, obviously, if he gets hit by Clanks or whatever the case may be. Nullstone could... I mean, Kronos would be pretty useful. I know they haven't played Kronos for a while, but they have played it before. Carry Kronos more so than sort of Suicide Kronos, but they've got Swiftblade on the board, and they might not decide to run with that. But something that's really important, though, is having a way to get to Clanks, because that Clanks obviously wants to sort of sit in the back and give huge amounts of damage if he's left unattended in the team fights. But you shut him down, you focus him, you sort of sit on top of him, and then you have that ability to do that. And if you don't draft around that, you can easily get punished. It's something that Fusen is a firm believer on and talks about it a lot, actually, when we had him on the cast breaky. So, yeah, it would be good to sort of see if them have ways of sort of getting to the backlines of Clanks. Madman actually is a very strong hero because he obviously has the stalk ability to stay on top of him, but also is a natural brutalizer carrier plus the berserk. You just sit on top of Clanks and there's not much that he can really do. So perhaps might be in the line of Nullstone.
Yeah. The Kronos is interesting, but it's like you said, the biggest thing though, having a Swiftblade teammate, it kind of would throw that off a little bit. Ideally, you want a team that's all range focused, or maybe like a Magnus who has the eruption and can go into it at least. But
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Swiftblade's a little bit risky. Now I will say it is kind of, because I believe if Swiftblade's spinning and the Chronosphere goes up, that'll actually constantly still do damage. To be fair, so there is that.
But it's, obviously, you can't spin inside of it, or you can't run
you'd have
through
to do
it
before.
to spin. Yeah, exactly, which is not the easiest, well-timed thing to do. So.
Anywho, we'll see how the bands now follow things here. Parasite, Prisoner, Tempest. So far,
pick up Kinesis though, as well.
Yeah,
wonder if we played as support or suicide.
Something tells me Nullstone again. They may be reacting to Serenia playing it so well lately that may try to do it themselves here. Not that they haven't. I want to say I've seen Resher do it before too, but again, Serenia as a support option at least. That's where really the name that comes to mind when you think of it. But yeah, they're going to give it a go here. Something tells me it's probably going to be a support though.
Most likely. SolC Club banning out a lot of junglers, though, which is the right call to make. Nullstone are likely jungle teams, really. They very, very, very rarely play secondary supports. When I sort of got the chance to sort of jump in their Skypes, they don't even think about it, really. But I think they practiced it once when I was there. It didn't work out very well. So I'm assuming another jungle here. There's a couple of junglers on the ban. You can't ban them all. Legionnaire, Solstice, Keeper still on the board. Obviously, you got even the more peculiar ones like obviously like the North South Forest, for example, but ban out the Empath instead.
Yeah. See the right clicking of the Accursed over there for Nullstone. That's another hero that's been getting some good attention as of late and showing that there's some good power to it. So Nullstone may fall under that train as well. See if that becomes an option here or not. Back over to Solaire Club though. Now it's back to picks here as Kraken was the final ban overall, as we see. But yeah, you do see the jungle heavy bans definitely coming, as you're mentioning. But I think it's the Lord South Force, one that comes to mind. I know he likes to definitely run the Legionnaire as well himself. So
Legionnaire would be pretty useful.
Yeah.
Can get to the back lines of Clanks regardless of obviously if his portal key is stopped, because obviously the Terrifying Charge can still get to him and then taunt straight after. Way of sort of locking him down and getting to him straight away, which is a big factor that really should be addressed because otherwise, if Clanks does have a lot of farm and you've got a lot of sort of frontlining from Solaire Club, then it's hard to get to him. I do like the Pharaoh pick here though, because it kind of disrupts what Nullstone might be trying to do. Obviously, if Pharaoh jumps in, for example, then Nullstone have a hard time getting to the back lines of Clanks. A good frontliner that can really distract from the side of Nullstone. So I like the pickup here. They've got the damage as well, something that Swindleman has talked about a lot. When you pick up Pharaoh, you want to make sure that you got a lot of damage alongside him, because otherwise he does fall off very, very easily. He sort of paired it with like the Moon Queen, for example, and Clanks fulfills a similar role. Both very heavy magic damage in that respect, and both can carry late if given the opportunity. So yeah. I like the Pharaoh pickup. Obviously, a superior stun as well from Swiftblade CPs, so it makes a lot of sense. I like it.
All right. Let's see how that works for them here. Are we going to see... I wonder if that's a hint at a Berserker pickup. I wonder.
I don't think so.
I wonder.
But,
probably not. That'd be very melee heavy.
Maybe. It would be pretty melee. But that's what Nullstone do. Remember they got the 5 strength strat, man. The 5 tanks. Man.
True.
Okay. I like the SolC pickup as well. They have extra sort of damage to dump into the Pharaoh mummies, alongside Midas as well. Like obviously, Pharaoh goes in, wall of mummies up, and then you just dump all your sort of AoE inside of the wall of mummies. That goes with the Midas, but goes for the Solstice as well. Makes sense. Gives also an extra sort of frontliner as well for Solaire Club to really sort of soak up the damage while Clanks can be in the back lines. I would really like a Madman pickup here. It's like a hero that I talked about that can really sit on the side of Clanks. Can disjoint Solstice stun, and can disjoint obviously Andromeda stun as well. Can work decent. Gives them extra sort of physical presence. There it is. Yeah, really nice pickup. It makes a lot of sense. And as long as he goes strong, could brutalizer, unlike some of the other mans we've seen recently, I think he'll do very, very well.
I mean, yeah, that does again goes back to the point though. 4 melee lineup, not your typical, but you're all right. Nullstone perhaps does have history running this style before, so.
I mean, you're right though, because like the 4 million lineup can easily get punished by Solstice, Pharaoh, and Midas. Obviously, they're all very AoE centric in that respect. Obviously, if you're melee, you're going to have to clump up to do your damage. So you might see it sort of backfiring here, but still tanky enough to sort of maybe withstand any sort of Midas burst, for example. But regardless, I do like the Mammoth pickup. So it's a way of dealing with the Clanks. So it makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Nice. Here we go into what is going to be, again, a pretty important game here for both of these teams. Obviously, Nullstone really needs a win here to have a chance. The Solaire Club, a victory would actually mean that they automatically are moving on with that 2-1 record. So, quite a bit on the line here. See how it plays out. Nullstone Gaming off the bat, sending all 5 down to the bottom lane, that melee in the front lines. Again, going back to, we'll see if that bites him in the ass or not with such a melee-heavy lineup, but also could work, of course. Catch them off guard. Clanks, speaking of being caught off guard.
Oh, he chopped around the wrong trail.
I don't know. I mean, he's still scouting. Oh, no.
Oh.
He's in trouble. Nope, never mind.
Oh, maybe not. Oh, clutch. That's nice play, actually.
Yeah.
He could have easily packed there. But, yeah, I think if maybe Kinesis was actually the first one up there, or maybe even the Magnus, I think that could have fared a little better. But I think it was the Swiftblade, the Madman, who ran out first, and as a result, obviously. Yeah, a little bit unfortunate, but alas.
He gets away. So Cannondorf, again, playing the Clanks here. He had that performance on Ravener that we talked about against Recent Gaming that was off the charts. Gonna hope for a similar situation here in Clanks, of course.
I like what they just did here as well, by the way. They hatcheted this medium camp in the middle lane. Hatcheted so where the ward you can put it, it not only blocks this medium camp but gives vision of the rune as well. And they had to hatchet both of these trees to get this ward down. But yeah, nice little play there. It's the small things that make a difference. So it's going to have an impact a little bit on the Solstice, but still give them rune vision. Yeah. And I don't think it's going to be de-warded either because it doesn't seem to be too.
Yeah, it's not your obvious spot, definitely. So. Yeah, very sneaky right there indeed by Resher. Well placed, and Solstice are going to have to deal with that. Obviously, so again, 2 of the camps being blocked here. Andromeda also setting up a ward of sight at the bottom lane, that's just in case for any incoming ganks. But it is just going to be Madman down here going up against the Clanks Andromeda. Middle lane will be Midas, and of course top lane is going to be that Pharaoh up here. But Null Gaming, they are going again the short lane Swiftblade, as Beaverbanger gets his hands on it. Going to be looking to do the good farm here. What you got, Cthulhu Fawn, he is in the jungle, and going to be a pure jungle Cthulhu Fawn, at least early on, of course. Magnus and Midas will be going at it here in the middle lane in the 1v1. So Fuzzy Sloth, we'll see how he manages. But I got to expect that Justman, especially on Midas, he should have a pretty good time here in the middle lane. Some good harassment potential. Magnus here.
Yeah, definitely. Magnus can't really do much either, really, outside of just sort of getting CS, to be fair. So Gisman should definitely have the advantage in this lane, and he as already he's putting a lot of harassment onto the Magnus, and as he should.
See here again, very early on in the game, but so far, Midas 4-1, Magnus 8-2 actually. Midas does have a creep wave now, though, to work with, so. And don't want to look too much into that just yet, as far as the difference between the two. But again, Cthulhu Fawn and Solstice both playing more their own side jungle here, so we'll see how active they can end up being. Pharaoh could be susceptible because Trample actually does go through the mummy walls, remember, so. And actually going to use them right there, and Cthulhu Fawn is heading over. So now Pharaoh's in a lot of trouble because he doesn't have a mummy wall cooldown to be used, and now Cthulhu Fawn finds him. Trample, not going to use it just yet. And actually just going to hold off, and didn't have the mana for it. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, that's a little bit annoying. I think if maybe if Swiftblade rotated over, they could have got that kill, but regardless.
Yeah. Oh, jeez, see Quincy pointing out there, not only do they need to win this game, but they need to do it in pretty decisive fashion because of their performance against Reason Gaming and how that would set up. And then not only on top of that, they would then need to even beat... then they would need to lose the Sinky Sports, that's right, in the next one. So, anyways, point is, yeah, things are difficult right now for Nullstone here. But yeah, so what you got, we'll just continue to farm away in the jungle. In the meantime, back to the middle lane, Andromeda coming in, and Fuzzy Sloth, he gets caught out right here, and down he goes. Midas going in and getting the kill ultimately, being played by Justman. So, well played. I think that was an Invis rune, if I'm not mistaken, from Andromeda that set that up. So again, that goes back to the rune control, that 2-minute rune. Very important.
I think they did have vision of it though, but someone obviously didn't call it out. They got vision down bottom, and that was the rune that actually set up the kill. So, unfortunately, just either didn't spot it or didn't realise it was a threat, and so they didn't back off. Unfortunately, but.
So Fuzzy Sloth going down already. What's definitely a pretty difficult matchup. That can't be good news. And actually, Midas holding his ground here, putting out some good counter damage, but we'll have to start falling back. Magnus, in fact, he could go back for a stun and kill. Couple of auto attacks. It's not going to be enough, though. Yeah, Midas a little too strong, and now actually all of a sudden Magnus the one in some trouble now. He needs to dodge it here. Ooh, Midas doesn't go for it. Thought we were going to see
I think it was range.
But
I think it was range, unfortunately, but
yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Will stay alive in return. So that could have been brutal if he got turned on once again, definitely. So at least he stays alive. Going to be good to go. Madman actually a double damage rune spawns right next to him here at the bottom. That's good news there. See if he can make use of that somewhere on the map. As he's going to go into the jungle with it. We'll find Andromeda. Solstice here, though, as well. And, yeah, not going to do too much with it. Doesn't want to risk it. There is dust on Solstice as well. So, Madman does need to be a little careful about that. Yeah.
I think he could man up on that Solstice, I think. Lynx is still down bottom farming the lane, but backs up. He has DD as well. I don't know. Like Madman in Suicide Lane at the early levels is just so ridiculously strong, so easily to secure kills. Honestly, the stalk and the barrel roll do a lot of damage together, and the stalk normally is your getaway free kill because it gives you max movement speed, which obviously at early levels no one can really compete with. So perhaps a little bit of a man down, but Understandable.
Yeah.
It's-
Just didn't want to take the risk right there, so does fall back from the opportunity. And again, going back to Justman, level 5 here, 365 gold per minute. He's having that great start, now level 6 on top of that. Again, he already had his ultimate, though. Of course, getting at level 4. He's pushing up a little bit here. You see Cthulhufon's coming over. So clearly they want to make a play right here. Now Magnus, I don't know if he's close to level 6. Oh, yes, he hits level 6 right there, but the transmute, it screws everything up. If he did not get transmuted there, that could have been a dead Midas, but he happened to throw out a double nuke.
Yeah, most likely, because Magnus could have stunned in, ulted, and then
Yeah.
could have stunned him, so he got the eruption off. But yeah, a little bit unfortunate there. But man, Justman is just dominating this lane though. Like after that kill, 380 GP match bomb. Oscar goes down as well. That dust from Solstice, or that's from Antro, sorry. Big impacts in the game.
Yeah, one of the two, but yeah, definitely sets that up, and kind of watching that pretty much the whole time, and just simply the 3 being there. I mean, well, not much he can do, obviously, if he can't really take advantage of the stock with the invis portion, at least. That's what the dust counters, of course. So well played by Solar Club, making sure to have a priority to have the dust against a suicide option like that. And, again, so you talk about positives for a hero like Madman. It's got some good upfront damage earlier on, at least. Downside is that dust will make him very, very vulnerable compared to other suicide potential heroes.
Yeah, they had the
Solar.
good stun lockdown as well from Solar Club. And I think Clanks was level 6 at the time as well, so a lot of damage. But one thing I haven't seen Oscar do, though, in this lane is something that a lot of high-tip members is that they just pull the lane. Like, they go behind the Tier 1 and Tier 2 tower, and they just pull the lane and then pull it behind their Tier 1 and Tier 2 tower. And they can't really punish it, though, because Clank's obviously busy farming the lane. But Pharaoh is there, actually, at the time, so backs off smartly.
Pharaoh is level 5 currently, getting that level 6 mark. Possible kills to come from there, so no one in the middle lane currently actually for the Hellborn side. Magnus, he's doing some pull in the jungle. Gonna stack the camp, I guess, just assisting a little bit. Figured he had some time to do that, so gonna head back to the middle lane now. And Fuzzy Sloth will go back to farming. How are the carries coming along, though? I assume pretty damn well. Yeah, Swiftblade and Clanks both doing very well as expected. Clanks, now to be fair, Clanks is working off a kill, where Swiftblade is working off no kills, and Swiftblade's actually higher here. So that tells you something, that Creep Farm must be a lot better. 52 and 14 compared to a 48 and 29 Clank. So it's really not a whole lot better, to be fair, but it's enough.
I think Clanks went into the jungle and got a couple of CS
Okay,
there, and that's
so
why
yeah.
it sort of diluted the GPM chart.
That makes sense. But Beaver Banger is still remaining slightly on top here. As again, the carry Swiftblade. So, we see a lot of suicide Swiftblades, more of a secondary carry option Swiftblade's coming out. This time he's playing more of the main carry free farming role. Abyssal Skull, still expect to see it.
Yeah, it's just because it gives him the ability to farm in the jungle and rotate to the jungle, and then give the lane up for the Kinesis, for example. It's just a very standard cookie cutter build, and regardless of the only way you play difference between sort of suicide and sort of carry Swiftblade normally is sort of how aggressive you can be in the lane, but for iron builds normally it's very, very similar. So yeah, I expect the Abyssal Skull. He might dodge or might skip the Energizer, but most likely he won't, because there's quite a lot of bursts from like Midas and Pharaoh, so he'll probably just go Abyssal, Energizer, and then look to go something more aggressive after that, I assume.
Madman going in here. Again, he's level 4 compared to level 8 Clanks now, so now Clanks no stun himself necessarily. So not the biggest threat by himself, but you never know if that Solstice or Andromeda is nearby. Now he doesn't have a word of sight for that information, so Asuka should be on top of that. We're actually now the third player to play support Kinesis. Serenia and Chiela are the only other ones. Really? I thought we had seen it a little bit more than that, but I guess, okay, I mean, that would make sense, though. Again, it's kind of gaining steam as of late, Serenia especially showing that, so more and more teams perhaps going to start picking up on that. But yeah, there's that tower kill, of course, coming up from Swiftblade now, 425 gold per minute. The courier delivering steam boots finished on Cthulhuphon first, before Swiftblade and others could get their items. But Clanks, on the other hand, he too again having that free farm in a sense. So now looking at him, a Thunderclaw you'd like to see, or what?
Yeah, I mean, but if he goes Thunderclaw, then he is very, like, very, very squishy to be fair. And I think what you got might try and go aggressive, and it's the quickest farming method if he goes Thunderclaw, but it doesn't give him regen, doesn't give him a little bit of sort of stats and the spell block obviously. But I expected to go just because he is expected to be the hard carry. So
Yeah.
just be careful that he doesn't get picked off, for example, from Madman almost. So could easily happen if he's not careful.
Yeah, Madman right there. He got dusted, but again, he is just out of range of any initiation coming out and going to be fine. Now, Solstice, it is nighttime, so it doesn't have the charge stun anymore, but of course her ultimate actually, in a sense, does have a stun here with that fear effect, so it's kind of that trade-off, and obviously makes the hero very interesting with that day and nighttime effect here. Beaverbanger, as you mentioned, did finish the Abyssal Skull and is taking advantage of that right here as he just continues to push out the top lane. I mean, he's almost already to the secondary tower, and still no sign of a gank or setup being anything being set up just yet, at least. So keep an eye on that. Speaking of ganks, though, Magnus is down here, and they're trying to get aggressive on a Clanks. You can tell though Clanks just feels something might be up. He doesn't want to go too far when there's no point to. Is going to wait for this next creep wave. Obviously, Andromeda did a creep pull, and that happens to be pretty good timing, honestly, because if he was farming the creep wave up a little bit further, he'd probably be dead right now. So the lane back to his tower. Are they going to be in range of a dive? Here's the question. Go through the bot middle lane. He is going to survive as he charges away, by the way. Solstice was going in, but couldn't get close enough. Here we go! Kalank's going to be caught now. And as if he wasn't even there. So speaking of being squishy, yeah,
That's what I was talking about. I think he was dead even if he had Knockstone there. But that's what I mean. Like he's very, very vulnerable. So maybe it's best to go Thunderclaw because then you're sort of all in that respect. But yeah, just nice rotation though from Nullstone. I think it was smoke use as well, or Veiled Rot use, because they went past this lane ward and really surprised Clank there. So
yeah.
Nice play.
Yeah, well played with the Veiled Rot definitely coming out. So again, making use of still somewhat of a newer item. Top lane, Swiftblade spinning on top of Pharaoh and gets the kill. I don't know about that. I mean, it kind of caught that late, but it looks like almost Pharaoh went in for a kill with the Wrath of the Pharaoh and then just got turned on completely. Is either that or he just tried to survive somehow with it, but whatever the case was, he goes down. Andromeda couldn't get there in time, and Swiftblade gets a free kill out of it. And now actually Midas in trouble. Trample on top. There's the Eruption combo. Midas is so tanky, though. Mystic Vestment, Steam Boots being strength, and actually able to survive throughout all of it in the end.
Wow.
So, yeah.
They did not have the damage, yeah, but like you said, the Steam Boots investment's really, really paying off there. They didn't have the damage. I don't think, yeah, Philippine didn't use ulti either, actually. That could have been the reason why he got away.
But the big pickup on the vestments, though. Without that, I think he actually might have been dead
definitely.
right there.
Yeah, probably still did. I think if he used the Obliterate, though, he might have died. But regardless, just nice get away from Gisman.
Oh, good getaway indeed. And now we got Swiftblade pushing out the top lane here once again. So it's Swiftblade just continues to have that great farm. Clanks is trying to find farm elsewhere. He did go the Thunderclaw. And, kind of like you were saying, we moved out of the last game, too. It's a case of there is a lot of burst anyways, and you are going to be vulnerable anyway, so, why not just go that risky style and work with it. Sense. Yeah. It does. I like this elephant of his, this skin here. So
it's like the old African, UK
the safari
kind of
style.
Explorer. Yeah, safari explorer. It actually looks really cool. Yeah. Pretty badass.
It's so cute. It's a freaking mini elephant with a bazooka on its back.
So
I love
badass.
it. All right, enough of that, though. Swiftblade, again, now, so the Abyssal Skull is one thing. Do you still expect the traditional style, a firebrand and so on, or?
Yeah, I think because he's kind of squishy himself, to be fair. So I think just going into sort of the Dawnbringer. I know actually Beaverbanger is actually a firm believer of Dawnbringer. He really likes picking up. So I assume it's just going to go straight into Dawnbringer next now. Gives him some overall decent stats. Obviously helps his farming speed. Gives him some mana regeneration as well. So yeah, expect the Dawnbringer after this.
Yeah.
It's just a solid pickup. It's not amazing, but it's just it's very, very reliable, very, very solid in that respect. Can't really go wrong with it. It's not a bad item choice in that respect. It's safe, very, very safe.
Safe option, and safe sometimes best. Sequency right there pointing out that, all right, so a little bit better, but still 2-5 record on Swiftblade is Beaverbanger. So yeah, definitely has done this several times before, and doesn't necessarily have the biggest results with it, but I'm going to try to change that up here. He got the Firebrand purchase, as we saw. Bottom lane, by the way, just before you starting that there, Pharaoh missed the Wrath of the Pharaoh once again right here. Again, I don't know necessarily what happened at the top, but he tried to jump on a Madman here at the bottom and unfortunately hit the creep wave instead of getting Madman. So another missed attempt, and that Wrath of the Pharaoh, I mean, that is one of the good reasons to pick up a hero like Pharaoh, of course, you know, in the suicide option. At least he gets level 6, he can start setting up kills. Unfortunately, he's 0 for 2 right now on going for that, so.
Yeah, you really have to make sure that those ganks are set up and they're really utilised earlier on, though, because like I said, like he does scale off kind of hard. Like with Ferry, he's kind of good at like level 6, and then starts dropping off at like, you know, level 9, level 10, and then he starts becoming effective when he picks up his puzzle box again. So, which looks like he's going to go straight into barbed. It looks like actually, yeah, it looks like he's going into barbed instead of puzzle box. Which. Like he's going Striders though, actually, bottom lane. SolC.
Yeah, Serenia or not? I just called him Serenia. Yeah, Resher.
Yeah.
The burst. I just used to saying it lately with his support Kinesis play, but you know, Resher assists with the burst, gets to go. Here we go, Wrath of the Pharaoh on a Kinesis actually in the background. She was pushed up a little too far by himself. Magnus channeling the eruption. He wants to make something happen. He goes in with the portal key. There's a stun in his wellbow again. Mine is pretty tanky. Pharaoh tanky enough as well. And now here comes the response. Andromeda and Clanks are here. Magnus going to be locked down with the transmute. He eventually is going to fall, but Swift Slash is bouncing around. It was level 2, doing some good damage. They get the 1 kill on a Pharaoh. Not enough for more though. And look at the return damage from Clanks, man. Madman feels that, and he goes down as Just Man finishes him off right there. Well, so their club, I get they come on top in that exchange there in the end.
Yeah, and you're seeing like the sort of synergy they have though with the Pharaoh plus everyone else. Like you just Pharaoh rocket in, and then you obviously put the wall of mummies up, and you just dump all your damage into the wall of mummies, and whoever's in there is just gonna get wrecked from the Clanks and Midas there. So. Yeah, just nice rotation, and this Midas being so tanky though is having a big impact because they simply can't bring him down. Like they use the Magnus Eruption, and then he just barely even feels it, and then just turns with his combo and just really does wreck the team fight. And I think the Swift Slashes there was a little bit unlucky with his bounces. Unfortunately, couldn't finish anyone off, but at least he does survive. So
yeah. Clanks is continuing to farm throughout the jungle, and again, it's showing pretty well. 40 to 41 gold per minute, so yeah, the greedy pickup of the Thunderclaw. Obviously paying off dividends for him here, definitely. Pharaoh the top lane, he will survive. Magnus, a little bit of a initiation there, but not really the most follow-up, so going to be fine. But Clanks, 3,200 gold saved up, so he's pulling up quite a bit right here. Get an idea of what he does go for next in line. Okay, well right-click an Energizer, apparently. So that's a start, and there's the Firebrand. All right, so Energizer Firebrand all of a sudden, too, on top of the Thunderclaw here. So keeping the right-click threat build, more of the farming style here earlier on, but also, you know, a little bit of combat presence, especially with the Energizer, of course. Good for him to have. Solstice, looks like Solstice is going straight for the portal key route here. On top of the steam boots he has, so will be a portal key initiator with Midas, and of course having Pharaoh on top of that. They have a lot of reach here to catch people off guard. Back on the other side, a lot of talk about Swiftblade, and Magnus, though, he's also, you know, performed fairly well in the end as far as GPM goes. 357, he's got the portal key working towards a tablet. It does drop off a little bit there, although Cthulhu has his own portal key. But Madman still hasn't been able to get a whole lot yet. Again, getting him, though, at least the items you mentioned, the Shrunken Head, the Brutalizer, that's really all you need on this guy, in this case especially.
It really is, like, I mean, it's just, when members don't just go, like, Shrunken, Brutalizer, it just makes me so sad, because the hero is just, like, so strong when you get it, like you said, you don't need anything else. You just pick up Shrunken Brutalizer and you just wreck. All you got to do is right-click the enemy carry and the work's done for you. Like it's less so even the damage you do, but more like kind of the lockdown you bring from the Brutalizer and kind of just locking them down. Like although Clanks does have pretty decent peel because obviously he's got the Hawk, so you can sort of just somewhat run away from Man. But with the Brutalizer, he just doesn't have the ability to do that. And when you put so much pressure on the Clanks by literally just forcing him to run, then he can't do his damage. So, yeah, and even if Mama just dies, like it's important that he has an impact in team fights. Top lane Pharaoh is gonna die.
Now the mummy walls, though, he got that off at the last second, buying some time for a response. Magnus will feel that as a result, and at least a 1-for-1. So well played by Pharaoh there. Knew he was dying anyways. Might as well trap him next to the tower and have the TPs come in. So good response, and hey, I think it's safe to say, honestly, even in their favor there.
Yep, definitely.
Diving a little too far, so well played. Swift play does fall back though and stays alive. Middle tower kill.
Yeah, it's a Magnus for a Pharaoh. But yeah, it's going over the Madman. I hope he just goes first time and Shrunken into Brutalizer. Like, you don't need build up. You don't need anything. Like if you have decent farm, like yeah, go for the Energizer. Maybe go for the Business Skill. But if not, just go straight Shrunken Head and initially in this team he definitely needs a Shrunken. He's playing against the Clanks, playing against a lot of stun as well. So just Shrunken Brutalizer, and he'll do so much work, even with such little farm. So.
Oh, he's, again, finding a little bit of consistency here now, 244 gold per minute. You see top lane, Clank trying to push this top tower in. Has the Hawk already activated, trying to get out of range. Ooh, the trample just missing right there. Good attempt. They still could get something out of this, though, as they are chasing Swiftblade. All it needs is to get in vision, but look at the knock.
Oh.
What a catch from Magnus, though, and that's what they needed. Down goes Clanks in the end. So the Hawk, it's a great getaway tool, but with the portal keys, you can only get away for so long, apparently.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, nice setup, nice TP rotations there from Fuzzy's Clanks does get picked up as a result, so I don't know if they can push this though. They don't have any kind of real pushing heroes, and Clank is up in 35 seconds. They've got obviously SolC's ulti coming up in 10 seconds, and so yeah, they're not going to be able to get anything else other than the Clanks pick off. But still, nice play. Delays the farm and keeps obviously Beaver Banger in the GPM lead from the battle of the carries. So.
Yeah. Madman double damage room bottled up right here. Again, going to assist out with the farm here in the middle.
He's had like 4 DDs this whole game, I think. Like,
yeah.
Started with 1 and then
He's enhanced his damage that way. Hey, oh man, this Pharaoh, ugh. It's the second time now we've seen him really try to go for a gank, and unfortunately just hits the creep wave. Just cannot get the correct angles. And that's a missed opportunity onto a big hero in Swiftblade, so.
Imapangu isn't normally a Pharaoh player. Normally he's just he plays a very good bubbles, and actually it was the carry team for Team Axe actually, but obviously Select Club using him here. But it looks like he's going for Barb Dharma, as I mentioned before, and I'm not a big fan of it for 2 reasons. Because Puzzle Box level 3 makes Pharaoh such a good hero, and I think you have to prioritise it over everything else, kind of thing. But not only that, but he's gone Striders, so his sort of EHP is kind of very low, so he can't really return that because he's just going to die before he can really return a lot of his damage from Barb. But good news, though, Madman looks like he's just going to rush into the Shrunken End, which I really do love this pick-up here. And I hope he picks up the Brutalizer after that as well, and he'll do so much work, even with such minimal farms. So, yeah.
Oscar was listening. He was listening to the cast.
Must be ghosting.
Obviously. No, yeah. So good, smart on his part, definitely agree there. And actually, bottom lane, though, in the meantime, Magnus, everyone's here. Can he actually escape? He's not going to TP right away. If he started TPing there right away, he probably still wouldn't have made enough. But it's at least he kept them occupied for a while. More so just a permanent distraction and guaranteeing the Conquer kill, I guess, is how you can look at it. So Swiftblade does get the token of life, and that's good for them. Of course, we'll see what kind of use they make of that. You mentioned Madman. He's going to have that Shrunken Hater shortly. So things are coming together pretty nicely for Nullstone Gaming as far as a good mark to do something here. Some kind of push, as the bottom first tower is even still up, so I'll probably start with that. Sure as well, we'll see.
I mean, and at the moment though, like I'm a little bit worried for Select Club though, because although Midas has got great farm and he's doing a lot of work at the moment, he is going to scale off obviously into the late game. And like SolC doesn't have the greatest farm, and he's gone Portal Key himself, which I'm definitely a fan of. It makes sense, but then you've got obviously Pharaoh that does very, very minimal damage. And you compare it to like Nullstone, they've got like the Swiftblade and the Madman to really scale into the late game. I think if Select Club want to be in a good position, they need to make sure that this Clanks is farming out of his brains right now. And after that death up top, he's sort of plateauing a little bit in terms of his farm, and so he does need to be really going towards high GPM, because he is all of the sort of damage here in the team fights really. So. I mean, they do have Andromeda sort of back him up. Obviously, the Dimensional Link is actually going to play quite a big part, boosting Clank's farm. But like you look on the side of Nullstone, like almost every one of their heroes, it seems to be like quite a threatening hero. You've got obviously Man, the Swiftblade, obviously, but then you've got like the Kinesis, obviously support. We've seen it do a lot of work. And then obviously you've got the Magma's Eruption, and then you've got Proliferant as well. And then you look at Select Club, and it's like outside of maybe Clanks and the Mud, it's like those are the only 2 sort of threatening heroes in the team fights, and it might come to sort of harm them later in the game.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Dimensional Link, but doesn't even have points into it just yet, and at least going to get the final point into Aurora. So, and again, a support hero that's not leveling the fastest here. Not going to be really the best until a little bit later on in this game, so not taking advantage of it just yet. You could honestly argue that maybe he could have just gone the level 1 Comet and the 4/4 on top of that, but he did max out the Comet first for the extra burst here, and is going to finish off the Aurora, of course. So, not that that's the biggest game changer in the world, but worth pointing out there. Bottom lane, though, again, as expected, this is where they're going to kind of start things as far as using this token of life and pushing in the bottom tower, which is still up. And I would assume that if you're Solaire Club, you're probably just going to let it go. Again, 23 minutes in to lose our first tower is not the end of the world. So
yeah, definitely. Here. And they can't fight at the tier 1 tower, particularly not if they're fighting against Token as well. It's just too risky, so they're going to back off. I think they'll need a stronger head on Clank Sword before they take a team fight, because, like, even though obviously a lot of the damage is going to come from Swiftblade and Madman, like the Magma's Eruption plus the Kinesis, I think it's just going to blow them up just by themselves. So I think he's in need of a stronger head, most definitely.
Clanks looking around in the Hellborn jungle. Yeah, again, Clanks is, Quincy was even pointing out earlier about Clanks, but I believe Clanks is one of the highest win percentage heroes right now on the scene. And especially if he has over 400 gold per minute, 74% win percentage. And then 500 GPM, 15-1 record. Of course, the higher GPMs is not too surprising to see on a carry hero doing well, but it's just overall win percentage too. This hero is getting a lot of steam as far as being a go-to carry for several teams, this being one of them. Apparently in Solaire Club. Solstice middle lane. He got jumped initially, and it is going to be enough. Maybe Soul Slashes. No! Oh! But Madman, just in case, comes in to clear him up. He saw Cthulhu also was there as backup, but Soul Slashes, as the creep wave happened to just be timed correctly. So at least they finish him off and get the kill. Now Solstice will remain dead here. He does have a buyback, but obviously not necessary for what's going on. But 3,600 gold now in Swiftblade. And he's actually going to make his way bottom. He only has 215 remaining on the token of life here. We'll see if Nullstone Gaming really does a whole lot with it or not.
I don't think he used like Swift Slashes, but I mean with the token, I think they can at least take the tier 2. It looks like they're going to try and defend tier 1 actually, or tier 2 top. Magnus is rotating in.
Magnus going in, just stuns the creep wave. He was not aware right there. Pharaoh goes in with the response, and Clanks is there for the DPS. And he ends up falling. Yeah, Fuzzy Sloth just thought he was farming the creep wave.
Yeah, that's just unlucky, really. Oh, Kinesis is coming.
Ooh, missed the deny, but I think Pharaoh is dead. Oh, he missed it.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
I think he was definitely dead there. He easily had 500 damage.
Oh, he was dead. He was dead if he hits that. Yeah, I mean, again, Kinesis, not your everyday support. It's gaining some steam, but as we pointed out, this is Resher's first time playing it here. So just underestimating the, I guess, the area of the ultimate right there, you could say, but missed out on an opportunity. So yeah, a couple of misplays. I mean, Fuzzy Sloth going in just prior to that and thinking that he had some free farm and did not, and missing a kill on top of that on a Pharaoh. So opportunities like that Solaire Club capitalizing on, it's going to give them good shots in this game here. And again, most certainly they have a good shot. Clanks is a very scary carry, as we just got finished. In fact, again, Quincy kind of backing up that argument. Minimum 20 games, the second highest win percentage, other than Riftwalker, which is actually pretty crazy. But again, BMG, formerly known as Tree, they've won plenty of games with Riftwalker, so I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. And they're like the only team that runs her, so kind of makes sense there. But Clanks does have the Geometers being finished. What did Swiftblade go? He's sitting on 23. Oh, okay. So he's going to Wingbow here. Dancing Blade and Snake Bracelet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know really. Like, if Wingbow is great, obviously on Swiftblade, but this early on, I don't know if it's the right item choice. Honestly, like he's still very, very squishy, and there's a lot of the damage from Solaire Club is still coming out as magic damage because of the Midas, because of the Clanks, and even obviously because of the Solstice as well. And he's only got 1.54k HP. I think maybe if he finished the Dawnbringer and then went into Wingbow, it might have been a little bit better. But we'll have to see what he does now. He's going to be dishing out a lot of damage, obviously, but it's still kind of squishy, honestly, and obviously it's going to be useful because Clanks doesn't have his Savage Mace. He's nowhere near Savage Mace, but I mean Clanks doesn't do a lot of physical presence until like maybe the 40-minute mark. But still going to definitely farm very, very quickly with it as well. So it's okay.
Nullstone especially known as one of these teams that they're not afraid to go to the later game stages. So the fact we're in a 27.5-minute game here, obviously still not too long just yet, but wouldn't be surprised if it gets up there as far as the time goes, and just because, again, especially being Nullstone Gaming as a team, but and the way this game is going, to be honest, I mean, both Swiftblade and Clanks continues to be a competition between them two, and who's going to have the bigger and better impact, of course, having that support, initiation, and utility from them obviously going to play a big role as well on how these turn out. But yeah, using that Wingbow now as Beaver Banger, we'll see how that pays off for him in the long run. The Savage Mace that you got to think is on the mind now, especially for Clanks if it wasn't already, but honestly usually it is. So
And he's shrunken head though as well, which is the problem.
Oh, true.
Because otherwise, I think he's just going to get wrecked from the Kinesis and Magnus. Otherwise, he definitely doesn't need a Savage. Don't get me wrong, but I think shrunken head might be a little bit more important as of right now because of that.
That is a good point, actually. So it's going to be interesting to see how Ganondorf prioritizes his farm here, or his gold spend, to say it better, I guess. Bottom lane, Veiled Rot attempt, but that is a fake Clanks now, and obviously with two of them being in there, they realize that. So unfortunately, unable to catch him, and I mean, you see on the mini map they're just rotating away. So clearly, again, information given to Solaire Club that something was up there with the Veiled Rot gank attempt, and so Nullstone not going to be successful with it. Madman, the Brutalizer, is getting closer, though. Mentioned the Shrunken Head and the Brutalizer coming around the corner. Again, the duo of items that are very powerful for a hero like Madman is also getting closer to level 16 now. I mean, level 14 right now, but at level 16, that's even that much more attack speed and that much better, of course, between his passive and having that Brutalizer, which he eventually will have. Level 16 Magnus also around the corner, another premier mark there. You look at the Legion side, Midas almost level 16, but again, he's already hit that high mark of level 12, having the level 3 transmute, so still, of course, better to get levels, but not necessarily as impactful level 16 as others. And then not really close for Solstice or Pharaoh for that matter, so I guess the point is that experience-wise, a little bit better on the side of Nullstone Gaming here at this time. So again, he went the Portakey first on Solstice. He does get a Soul's Bulwark now. A little bit more damage threat himself here now.
Yeah, I think maybe Insanitarius might be a little bit better, because then he's not as vulnerable to maybe like the Magnus and obviously the AoE from Kinesis as well. And not only that, gives him maybe some extra physical presence that I think Solaire Club are definitely going to need, because obviously Clank's not going to be able to do it by himself. But it's still decent, obviously. Gives him a little bit more, obviously, if you put it onto a aggressive Soul's Bulwark, but yeah, not too bad.
Middle lane, they were setting stuff up, but it's pretty clear that, again, that was a fake Clanks, and unfortunately unable to get an opportunity. What you got? He loves this item. He goes to Puzzle Box yet again and has level 2 of it on the way, it looks like.
Yeah.
On the Elephant here.
He does it a lot on the Wall Beast as well, which is kind of cool to see. Kind of a cool mechanics for you, if you can chuck the Puzzle Box from your trample onto the enemy team, which is kind of cool. Kind of interesting in that respect.
Yeah, I want to be clear on something, guys, that, with Quincy back especially, it's great having him and the stats and everything, but I want to be very clear that, stats, when we refer to them, bring them up, it's not the end-all, be-all of like, oh, so this is obviously the case here, guys. Stats have always been that. In sports, it's the same deal, guys. It's just a reference to get an idea of where things stand, not necessarily the end-all, be-all. So I know there's some fun chat going on about that. It happens to be currently, but that's at least my take on that. So just enjoy it for the stats and having that information in the first place. Again, I'll say the cast definitely is different when we have Quincy on it, and I think it's for the better.
Oh, I like it, yeah. Gives another sort of talking point to have.
Yeah.
Makes it a little bit more interesting in that respect. I definitely like it. It's kind of cool to have. You haven't had it before, so
exactly.
It's like new.
Exactly. Bottom lane, Magnus double damage, but oh, he got spotted right there. Well played with the Pharaoh Rocket. That's true, too.
True. Or casually back us up, actually.
Yeah, there you go. That's a better way to look at it. Clank's top lane, they're trying to find him up here. They know he's here. He does have a homecoming stun. He's just trying to find the right opportunity to use it.
I think someone should TP back to base and then catch him.
Oh, they're using the courier, actually. Yeah, they're trying to scout him. They know he's here. Uh-oh. Can't get through the line of range. He stopped!
Oh, no, he stopped.
Why did he stop?
I think that was it, man.
Oh, what you got. You were so close. Something made him stop right there. I don't know what it was, but boy, oh boy, that was a missed opportunity. I mean, that was literally that was a kill. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, without that, yeah. I thought Magnus should have TP'd back to base. Like, he TP'd back, but that was obviously after he already TP'd out. Yeah. I think if Magnus TP'd back, Clanks would just keep on running because Cthulhu was chasing him. So either Clanks gets sort of caught from Cthulhu if he runs back into him, or Magnus will cut him off on the other side.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it. But that would have been a kind of an interesting play if he sort of TP'd back in anticipation.
During this posture, I'm actually going to use the restroom real quickly, so feel free to keep talking here, and I'll be right back. Take advantage of this. Nature's calling, man. I'll be right back.
Yeah. It looks like Clanks was actually flirting with the idea of going Wingbow. Actually, he bought the Dancing Blade and then sold it. I really hope he doesn't go for Wingbow though. There's two different choices you can go for, either Savage Mace or Shrunken Head. Shrunken Head would be the more defensive, obviously, pickup, and I think it would be the pickup that would be a lot more useful than the Savage Mace because obviously, Swiftblade does have the Wingbow, and obviously Savage Mace is going to be needed for that, but I mean, I think Swiftblade, you can kill him just from the magic damage you've got with Clanks and Midas, and therefore Savage Mace is not as needed as, say, a Shrunken Head for Clanks, because as long as Clanks can survive, he's dealing so much damage just from his spells alone, obviously the Thunderclaw as well, so I'd like to see him go Shrunken Head. He's going to save for buyback as of right now, because in case, obviously, he does get caught out, then that'll be a little bit of trouble. There's Kongor up at the moment, though. Null should definitely look towards to get that. Swiftblade does have a bit of SolC, so they can easily take Kongo. He's got Wingbow as well, actually. So they should look towards to do that. Maybe try and counterward the vision with their puzzle box, and go towards Kongo. And Brutalizer looks like it's been picked up from Madman, which is, like I said before, a very, very important pickup for him. Makes him viable. I think before Shrunken Head and Brutalizer, Madman's not very useful, but with it, it becomes a very, very good pickup. Sounds like you're back.
I am. I'm back. I made
nice.
Made it
I think they just about survived before
killing
themselves. or leaving. Oh, man.
So 32 minutes in here. This is continues to be a pretty even game in the big picture. Again, guys, so while we are still in this pause here, to reiterate what is on the line, Quincy actually brought up a good point earlier, too. If Nullstone Gaming happens to lose this, so set on that... well, no, because then that would... No, so yeah, even if they... Okay, so if they win this, they could then still also then beat Sync Esports, and they would be moving on, and there would be no three-way tie. So, yeah, I think we were overlooking that a little bit, too, is what I meant to say there. So, but, of course, Sync Esports looking very strong and continuing to do that. Saw that yesterday once again against Reason Gaming, so... But Nullstone not thinking about that just yet, because, well, they got to take care of business here first, and by no means is this game over. Yeah, Quincy making that statement right there. Speaking of the stats, Solstice usually likes to have a better game as far as GPM goes, or else not usually the most successful result. And, yeah, still 0 kills on top of that, so going to try to get him involved a little bit more.
Yeah, he has had kind of a passive game. Same goes for Pharaoh as well, which, like, it's kind of strange to me or interesting. Like, you got Portal Key on Solstice, obviously you've picked up a Pharaoh, and you want to get aggressive with those kind of, like, pickups, because otherwise, what's the point of pickup? You might as well pick up, like, a scaling suicide, like a Madman, for example.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're sort of playing into the hand of Nullstone. But here's the puzzle box B-Ward, as I talked about, and here's the Conga as well. So almost like clockwork, Nullstone are doing it, and it doesn't look like SolC Club even know. They've got Pharaoh. They should be definitely scouting this with Tormented Soul, but he's not doing it right now.
They know now with the Illuminate for sure, but it just doesn't matter. Way too late. Swiftblade gets the token, yeah. And obviously Madman, especially with a Brutalizer, I mean, that's a very, very effective Conga killing hero, so understandable. It's just not a whole lot of time to react right there for Solaire Club, and they feel that, in fact, middle lane, Andromeda gets caught by Magnus. Swiftblade coming in. Is he going to get Swift Slash to see it? I was going to say, I mean, yeah, the first hit does it. It was a case of, like, it's overkill, kind of, but at the same time, I mean, he had to, because he wasn't going to catch him elsewise.
Magnus should have used tablet on Swiftblade to sort of catch him up.
Oh, that's true, I guess, yeah. Maybe there was a way.
He was so dead, man. He was so dead. Yeah. But maybe he was scared of, like, a reinitiation from Midas,
exactly.
I guess,
Yeah, something.
But he's got a token, I don't know, man. I think he just wanted, like, that was just, like, he just blew his load on an Android. Android's, like, back up now. And they don't have switch slices for the next 80 seconds, but... Oh, Clanks goes for Wingbow. Oh, mid lane.
There's a sheep stick, Pharaoh. Whoa! The big burst follows, and down he goes. Solstice to finish him off. Clanks is here now as well. They come back up in the mummy wall. Swiftblade just spinning, trying to survive at this point, and they're having to play it very defensively again. Doesn't have the swift slashes that you're just mentioning. Madman, he's beating on Solstice in the meantime. Solstice will go down. Clanks and Midas, though, they're chasing Swiftblade this whole time. The counterattack's proccing, but it's not enough. Magnus, though, he comes out with a counter eruption. Clanks is getting low. Clanks will fall, cut through the fault the trample, and Midas also goes down. So they invested a lot into kill Swiftblade. They do get the kill, but meanwhile, the rest of his team doing work. Madman was also picked off, to be fair, but you can see Magnus and Tremble, or Magnus and Cthulhu, as well as Kinesis doing enough work, and they finish off with a genocide basically, as Midas buying back right there. So, yeah, I mean, it was beautiful. They got the lockdown. They did it well, but not enough at the end. It's actually just made it wants to go. Nice stasis smash, though, preventing a lot of damage from happening, and Midas will be able to get away in the end. But, oh, is he going to chase, actually?
I like his aggression. There's no mana on either three of those
is.
heroes. I really do like his aggression. This is really well played, actually.
Why not? He's got a transit. Has to dodge it somehow. It's not going to happen, though. It's difficult. Magnus, yeah, you might as well just go. That was close.
That's a really nice play from Midas. Most players would just back off there, but he knows that he can man up because there's no mana. So pretty clutch plays there. He might find the Magnus as well. Oh no, he won't. Close.
No, he's actually going to make his way back. So all right, I mean, with that finish, something pretty good there for Solar Club. But yeah, I think Nullstone benefiting from that a little bit more.
Like, obviously, Nullstone still won that team fight, but that Swift Flash is not on Swiftblade. It did hurt him quite a bit, though, because they killed Swiftblade instantly, obviously, with the nice sheep stick from Midas, and obviously blew him up. And then they just completely right-clicked him down, and Swiftblade didn't have the kind of protection and invulnerability from what he would get if he had ulti up. When he was getting chased by the Midas and Clanks, he didn't have that up, and as a result, did get picked off. But didn't matter in the the grand scheme of things, but regardless. Adra does as well, in the meantime.
Yeah, I got picked off right there. But, Swiftblade, I will say, too, he was pooling up over 4,000 gold going into that bush. And we see that as he resurrects, he buys an Assassin Shroud. So, keeping that in mind as well in that fight, how he wasn't necessarily 100% good to go with his items. Whereas Clanks also did finish a Wingbow now. That kind of goes back to that as well, where we're talking about you like the idea of a Shrunken, possibly the idea of a Savage Mace to kind of counter the other Wingbow. But, no, he likes the Wingbow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good on him, but...
I don't like it too much though, because with him going Wingbow now, not only does it not counter the Wingbow from Swiftblade, but it gives him very, very vulnerable to the Magnus and Kinesis. Like we saw in the last team fight, he kind of just got blew up eventually from the eruption from Magnus. And yeah, it gives him a little bit more protection, obviously, because he gets that extra 100 range, which is hard. But Nullstone, they've got ways of really catching them and sitting on top. They've obviously got the Magnus. Portal key, as well as the tablet, sort of stun him in. They've obviously got the Madman as well, plus the portal key from Cthulhu. So they've got ways to get in the backlines of Clanks, and even though he's 100 range away, that's not very far in terms of protection, and I really think Shrunken would have been a little bit better, but I guess it's making it work here, but I'm not a big fan of it, though.
What was I going to mention? I guess I slipped my mind. Anyways, we see 2,000 gold on Solstice there. Veiled Rock gank up here. They try to catch somebody who might be chasing after perhaps that Andromeda, but as we see, no one's really up here other than Cthulhu Fawn is sitting back at base, so more than likely should be fine there unless for some reason he starts to go out. Kongor got to be up here in the near future, and guarantee that Nullstone game, and especially going to be looking to go for it right away, or at least shortly after, because not only being Hellborn, but again, they have a very good Kongor killing team on top of that. So does Solar Club, to be fair. Pharaoh obviously leads the way with that. But being Legion and a little bit behind hurts your chances, of course. So they're playing the game of trying to be patient, trying to wait for an opportunity. Might get one up here, but the whole team is also coming.
Yeah, they've got Valbrot themselves, actually. Magnus might get caught out.
Magnus is going to catch them out. Midas, the first target. Here we go with Madman. He gets brutalized proc. Andromeda takes the burst. She will fall after the swap, of course. In the background, you see Solstice. He throws out the Lunar Judgment right there, and now Midas also going to try to escape with the portal key. Will be fine. Solstice, in the meantime, he's still in trouble. You see all the way up here, and Clanks at the base. He's actually TPing out, realizing not much left for him to do. Mammoth's still chasing, but will turn back in the end. Doesn't want to go too far.
Yeah, that's actually not too bad for Select Club. They only lost the Andro, so they had really good disengage right there, actually. And Nullstone couldn't catch, so... Yeah, nice play them. Talking of other items, I really hope Madman works towards this Savage, though, because, again, it does very, very well with the hero. Obviously, you can get the... what's it actually called? Is it like the... They call it like the mini bash, no? What's it called? What is it called?
What are we talking about?
It doesn't say anything. It's just when you get the prop from Savage Mace. I thought it had like, an actual name.
Oh, the True Strike. Yeah.
That's more. That's not really the same. But anyway, whenever it says like, the prop from Savage Mace obviously synergizes very well with Madman, because obviously attack speed. That's why you pick up the Brutalizer. But not only that, obviously he's fighting against Wingbow from Clanks, and it gives him just some actual threat damage. Like we see a lot of sort of carries build up like the Geos into the Null Stone, and yeah, that's a good Null. But where's the damage coming from? Like you really do need the damage to be a threat, and he's got the stronger Ned to sort of give him that kind of protection anyway. And I really do like the way Oscar's itemised this though. And if he goes to Savage Mace as well, I think he would finish it off very, very well, nicely.
Swiftblade top lane, he's level 21. Again, he's pushing it out a little bit, nearly that 500 gold per minute mark. So continuing to look great. Again, sitting on the Assassin Shroud. We'll see if he just upgrades that into a Genjiro here. Would very likely make sense. He's in the middle lane trying to find anybody, but cannot. Obviously, there's a Bound Eye on Midas currently. I believe the Hellborn team had one as well. No. Well, yeah, they do. Yeah, Kinesis has one. Of course, they also got the Puzzle Box minions from Cthulhu-Fon, so got to be a little bit careful here. And with that said as well, wards are pretty difficult to have up right now. And we kind of see the map. It's pretty dark for both sides. You see Resher is actually getting a couple of wards up here, though, in the meantime. But, yeah, Kongor, he's got to be up any second now, right, as far as him respawning here. So we'll see if, again, more likely that Nullstone would be the ones to react to it. But, yeah, Clanks, he has overtaken as a top farmer, and he continues to do that. Now, you talk about, again, going a little bit greedier perhaps with the Wing Bow, but he has survived this long and paid off.
Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely.
So now, but now you think Shrunken or Savage?
I still think Shrunken though, because like if he goes Savage, he's still going to be susceptible. Like even though it's like 10 minutes into the game later, I still think Shrunken is going to be useful because as long as Nullstone execute properly, like they can kill Clanks so easily just with the Magmus Eruption plus Kinesis and maybe a bit of help from the Cthulhu as well. And whereas Shrunken it completely negates that opportunity for Nullstone. Whereas if he goes obviously Shrunken, they have to find another way of actually taking these team fights. I mean, Savage is going to be useful, and maybe it's the more actually. With that being said, like Shrunken Ed would probably be the safe bet, and if they were equal in terms of golden experience, then maybe it's the best build to go. But maybe he needs to just go aggressive and go kind of YOLO in, and Savage is going to provide him that hope that Nullstone don't actually target him, and from there can maybe turn the team fights with Savage Mace. And actually, on recollection, actually, I think that might be the better choice because with Shrunken Ed, I don't think he's going to be doing enough damage to be a threat in the team fights, or enough of a threat. So yeah. Pick up Shrunken, hope they don't focus you. I think that's the game plan here for SolC Club. And makes most amount of sense.
Ooh, Swiftblade, he finds Solstice, doing some good upfront damage to him. Has support coming. Solstice, not much anything could do right there. I mean, he was trying to run the whole time. He had a couple of supports nearby, but pretty good decision on their part not to assist because, again, the whole team of Nullstone Gaming was there. So down goes Solstice, does have a buyback, but again, I guess I mistimed Kongor a little bit right here. It's got to be happening in the next minute or so, though, right? But there is I thought I just saw something big picked up.
Savage.
Was it on? Oh, wow. Yeah, jeez.
Yeah.
Well.
Oscar, this is like the first time I've seen Madman do this build. Like, you go straight Shrunken Head. Like, you don't build any kind of build-up. And I like it a lot because, like, you're a Suicide Madman. You don't get to farm too much by yourself. And you go for the items that matter. Like, Energizer, Abyssal Skull don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. It's the Abyssal Skull. So it's the Shrunken Head and the Brutalizer. But obviously the Savage Mace now as well. And because of this, it makes him a real threat as well. So SolC Club not only have to deal with the Swiftblade, but the Madman as well. Like, Madman is doing the same amount of damage as Swiftblade, and he's a Suicide player. So, yeah. I really like the itemization here from Oscar.
Yeah. Once again, guys, I know we're over the technically what was the default starting time of the Sync versus Nullstone series, but for obvious reasons, that's one's being pushed back here. Nullstone, they're still playing this one, of course, so that will start, though, shortly after this one finishes between those two teams. And again, depending on how this one looks here, will really determine how important that series will be in the end. So, but going to be important nonetheless. But here we go for the Conqueror. Look at how quickly, man. Madman now with that Savage Mace just melts away. This started 5 seconds ago. This is literally going to be a 10-second Kongor kill, if that.
Yeah, I have a great Kongor kill.
Goes in! No, he cannot seal it, though. Bananas. Midas got the token, however. Midas got the token alive. Pharaoh will follow. Midas goes down, but now he's going to come right back up, of course. Through the bot. He's thrown it in the air with the Storm Spirit, I believe. Swiftblade, though, he's looking around. Look at the Goon Squad is out from Clanks, but now he needs to fly away. as his team support is falling around him and also trying to retreat. He's going to get caught though. Swap from Andromeda. Says, get out of here. I got you, bro. Leave me to be. Andromeda's going to fall. Clank, so can he actually run away from Madman? That's tough. Nice flashbang right there, actually. And wow, that will be the difference. Maybe. Uh-oh, Madman, another stock. No, the Hawk just over the ledge. And he can't catch. He got him. But can they actually ultimately catch up to him? No, he doesn't have a TP. They probably know that, too.
They have to know that,
yeah.
Right?
Madman wants to find him, but Madman's getting low on mana right here. He only has one more stock, I believe, and Clank, so Clank should be fine. And the last thing you want to do is just chase him forever, which they're not going to do here. So, yeah, but, I mean, great steal from Justman, at least, on Midas getting that. But he did have to use the second buyback ultimately as well in the midst of that fight.
It's Clanks, man. He's been doing this the whole game.
Yeah.
Like, just goes over here, buys a TP from the enemy shop. Look at him, look.
That's ridiculous.
He's going to sell his Energizer. He will sell his Energizer. Yeah, there you go. Buy a TP and be like, yeah, thanks. See you later, guys. Oh, man, troll.
Clanks, Akinesis. Yeah, they have no clue, though, so. They need to get couriers up here, man, because, yeah, that is the third time that's happened. Just get, like, a patrolling courier up here. That's something.
Like I said, man, you got to buy that Air Force, man. Let's get into the late game. Just make your own airport of couriers. Make it happen.
Well.
Clank actually goes the stronger node, by the way. Which it's funny because I've saying this whole game that he should be picking up a stronger node, and now when he's got it, I think actually Savage would make a little bit more sense. Just because it gives him that kind of like that all-in sort of factor. Like his team are 20,000 goal behind, going defensive. Although smart if you're equal, or maybe even a little bit ahead, I think is not the way to go when you're behind by this amount. Like kind of when I talk about going the Doom Ringer kind of thing, it's kind of a similar principle here, but. Might help him a little bit. Oh,
Swiftly, and he ran into a Veiled Rot right there, so actually, it will expose hold him at least. And now he's going back in with the Assassin Shroud, and yeah, they're going to have to fall back from there. So, yeah, he has a Savage Mace himself, though, by the way, so you got double Savage Mace over here. Sheepstick onto Magnus. Yeah, you're talking about bigger and better items on the Legion side, but look at that on the Hellborn side.
Yeah. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like, he needs a Shrunken, but I just think him with Shrunken, he's going to do a lot of damage, but I don't think it's going to be enough to carry a 20,000 gold lead. Whereas maybe buying like a Savage or even a Doombringer, hopefully, the team fight goes your way and Nullstone don't target you, and then you just can wipe the whole team up because you're doing that much damage. Also, squishy needs to be targeted, but I think it's a risk you have to take when you're this far behind, without a doubt. But he's got to build towards it eventually anyway, so.
Yeah, you figure that has to be next, right? I mean. You got a wing bow on Swiftblade. I mean, it is just a good damage increase item on here, like Clank's course.
Oh man,
I'm most curious. So, is that a
this
portal key on Madman?
Man, I can't emphasize how well this Madman is itemized. Like, when I think about Madman, your whole role or sort of aim of the game in this game is just to sit on the enemy carry, sit on Clanks, and with the portal kit it allows you to do that so much. Like he's got all the damage he needs. He doesn't need to be the enemy carry. Like all he needs to be is just a real threat to Clank, so he cannot get his damage off. And with this portal kit, it helps him with that as well. Like gives him some catching potential as well. Like it's such a smart pick up here from Oscar. Like on paper it seems so strange and such a poor pickup, but in practice actually it's a very, very smart pickup, and I really do like it. So. Such a smart play.
Look at that, on the fly updates with the kill to death ratio. Now, again, normally that wouldn't be really the biggest deal in the world, but if it happens to be a three-way tie, right now, Nullstone Gaming is leading it at this point in the game, at least, apparently, according to Quincy. So, and it's not by much over Reason Gaming right here. So, again, that's if Nullstone wins this, and then they happen to lose to Sync Esports, that would come into play. So, but yeah, you do see the top tower right now, and vulnerability popped right there. Just in case this tower, though, is going to fall. Nobody Clanks. He gets jumped right here. Shimja comes out, and here we go. Magnus takes the Storm Spirit. Going to be fine off the bat. Guess who's coming in the flank, though? It's Madman. He's going to get here. Big burst from Kinesis. Swiftblade's not here. He has to run back. He did not have a TP. That is huge. And right now, hurting them big time. But they do jump Clanks. Look at Madman. That's what you're talking about. That is his sole focus this game, and he takes him out. Now he's going to be caught out. Swiftblade's still not here. And Madman will fall. This fight has been 4 versus 5. And that's been a big reason why Solar Club coming out on top so far, but not for long. Now Swiftblade joins the party, and all of a sudden Solstice is dead and Andromeda very likely going to follow. As we see there.
Like if Clanks doesn't die there, like I don't think Nullstone can just easily jump in there and finish up that team fight. But as Madman killed the Clanks because of that portal key, it had a big impact. Like obviously Select Club did the right thing as well. They realised that Swiftblade did not have a TP, and they did try to capitalise on it, and they did very well. But because of that portal key on Man, they were able to defend 4v5 because they got the right heroes on the right people, kind of thing. And as a result, now starting to take that team fight and looking towards taking racks now as well. So
Swiftblade, I think he wants to get post haste. Just don't want to have that happen again. Yeah, as we saw there, that could have been a big. Well, a big no-no, and that could have really backfired on them, but as you pointed out, but yeah, the fact that they killed Clinks, at least that's what really made it work ultimately in their favor. So again, goes back to Madman. His sole job is to just take out Clinks in these fights, and clearly he accomplished that right there, and ideally will continue to do so, because, I mean, they cannot do anything about that. He pops
what can they do?
Head.
Yeah,
exactly.
They have nothing.
They can Storm Spirit Clinks, but that's it.
Yeah, like, I guess Pharaoh actually, oh man, Pharaoh, I think actually missed range or mistimed the Pharaoh rocket middle lane, trying to catch the Swiftblade, yeah, but missed again, unfortunately. Yeah, I guess perhaps they have to try and almost hope, or what they need to do is Pharaoh needs a wall of mummies in Madman, and Clanks can peel off of it with his hawk. Actually, I think that's the only play they can make because Madman is just doing too much work in the team fight. It's like he's doing 14% of the damage, and he's got so. Look at the farm difference between Swiftblade and Madman. It's like 200 GPM difference, and this has gone on for like 51 minutes. So that's like nearly like 8,000 gold difference almost. Yet he's doing almost the same effectiveness as the Swiftblade, if not more.
Clanks. Oh, they're trying to chase Swiftblade right here. He pops against Hero. He gets Sheepstick Down, but Madman is here. But Clanks is in a very good spot right now in the trees. Doing some good damage, but look at the Swift slashes and Clanks. So much for being in a very good spot. He pressed R, did Swiftblade, and Clanks just melts in the end. Solstice will go down as well, so it looked like that was a good shot for SolC Club, but not to be. And that could be the final blow, if anything. I mean, they still have buybacks here, both on Clanks, and Clanks already bought back for that matter. Solstice does have one as well, but that's got to hurt right there, and that really shows you the power of Nullstone Gaming and where they're at right now. And continue to be at. So yeah, it was a good attempt, but I guess the overall, he really needs that Savage Mace on Clanks. We kind of saw that in the last fight there.
Yeah. He
was in a good spot dealing some good damage, but wasn't able to get any kills outside of Cthulhu Fun. There's a swap right there. Pharaoh, he goes down. Not the most effective, not a swap, I apologize, but anyways, goes down right there. Madman, now Pharaoh goes back in. Madman pushed in a bad spot. He actually may end up dying as a result. No, he just skirts out the other way. And portal keys before anything else happens. Swiftblade finds Pharaoh. Look at the burst coming out. Ooh, hits Clanks a little bit. Doing some good damage. Clanks, though, chasing them away with that lackey of his. And eventually, they will be forced to fall back. So, I mean, there's only the one melee rack's killed so far.
Yeah. Yeah, he goes Shroud. That's not as bad as it pretty seems, to be fair. Like, he needs some extra peel to get away from this Madman. For example, you know, if Nullstone don't have any invis detection, for example, obviously they're going to have Puzzle Box on Cthulhu, but for example, if Clanks can get lucky, gets into his position where he's not getting caught out, then I guess it gives him sort of a reset button on the Madman, able to sort of kite him out a little bit and has extra peel. But the damage is still going to be lacking, unfortunately, and because of that, I don't think it's going to have as big of an impact, honestly. Because these heroes from Nullstone aren't dying, because Clanks, unfortunately, is the sole damage here on the side of SolC Club, and unfortunately, it's just not enough. So, yeah, I think maybe he should have gone all in terms of damage, hoped for the best, and gone from there. But unfortunately, just isn't seeing that happening at the moment.
Yeah. However, SolC Club once again trying to make a play right here. Clanks, he's caught though. He was sitting up here. Ward and Sight spotted him. They knew it. Now Clanks, he pops second head, looking to turn some damage. Swift Slash is coming out. Did not bounce to Clanks, but it will tear apart Midas as well as Andromeda. Now Clanks, he's on the run with that assassin shot. And Fizz, we were just talking about Solstice. He gets picked off though.
Can't they see that elephant on the floor that's following Clanks?
I don't know.
Even if he's shrouded, like
I would assume not, because I think it works the same way. Isn't that the same thing with Zephyr even, or where you can't see the cyclones?
Oh, look, the Korean. They're using the Korean.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, no, they see him now. Oh no, it's Shot.
Oh no, see him now.
Down? Yeah, I mean they know he's here. They know he's here. It's just about getting here is the question. Now he buys a TP. Oh my gosh. Do they know? I guess they don't. They didn't see him. Okay, never mind. Look, God, he's all the way over here. Oh, jeez.
He's gone.
This game.
And here comes Clanks to kill the courier as well.
The illusion clanks. Yeah, they're still going to try to find him, but obviously he's gone by now. So,
Yeah.
well, again, they're just doing enough to stay alive here, but it looks like Nullstone Gaming very likely on the verge of coming through here in this game, as my buttons for some reason just stopped working.
You need to push V breaking.
Oh god, not this again. Huh, that's really weird. Like nothing is actually. Oh no, my
You got push.
There we go. Okay.
Push V, yeah.
And you know what? I pressed V and it worked. So.
Nice.
There we go. That was that all along. There's the post ace on Swiftblade. Finally.
Yeah.
Realizing that here.
Not gonna get caught out again.
And now Kongor's dropping quickly and dead.
One big ass
I love that Samuel Jackson. That was one big ass monkey. Token on Magnus. I mean, I think that's just purely a case of the other heroes just don't have inventory slots here.
Yeah, must be.
So why not?
Since
He just finished a full demonic too on Magnus. Big items continuing to appear. So.
haste on clinks though, most likely. That might actually be quite impactful.
Yeah, no, that helps us kite a lot more. Ooh. And then there's a pause here. Strat pause.
It's crazy though how far ahead North actually are in terms of golden experience. Yet the game is still not completely one-sided, which is pretty crazy. But
yeah, no, this is one of these games. Yeah, in a lot of cases, I know we still try to sell it sometimes, but you know, for the most part, it's pretty obvious that it's over. But I mean, I really think this one it's not over. I mean,
no, it's
Clanks
not.
is a very scary carry, and you know, with the farm that he has here now. Now
It's got
Genjiro on top
actually.
of that, yeah. So he has a lot of burst potential that can kind of catch you off guard if he gets some good procs here. So now he doesn't have the Savage though. That's the one thing I keep looking back at, against the Swiftblade especially.
It's crazy to think though, but like he's got 320 damage, yet he still doesn't have enough damage. It seems kind of weird to think that, but that's the reason why. They've actually got pretty decent control. They've got Midas, Sheepstick plus obviously his combo. They've got the Pharaoh initiation. They've even got the Andromeda swap to sort of swap out Clanks, and obviously the portal key on SolC. So they have a lot of ways to protect the Clanks, and if you have a lot of ways to protect the Clanks, then he needs to be going all out in terms of damage. So I have to admit, I'm not a big fan of his item choice. I think if he just went more aggressive or more, it's more offensive. Like he could have even bought like Doombringer instead of the Genjiro, which obviously was super risky. But if you're nearly 30,000 gold behind, then you have to make those plays. It's the only thing that might get you back into the game.
Yeah. I was going to say about Swiftblade, it's kind of interesting. Obviously, not only has his counterattack ability, which does that return damage, what is it, like 30%, 34% chance of dealing a 2x critical attack. No, wait, I'm reading the wrong ability. Counterattack, that's right, 25% chance to deal your attack damage back to the enemy. So he has that, but again, the wing bow for the melee heroes, it does return damage as well with the evasion procs. And how much is 25% on top of that? So he kind of, and I wonder if those even stack on top of each other if they can actually proc at the same time. I'm not sure on that, but
I think they do stack because
Yeah.
they're different entities. Yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
ones of us. Yeah, so I think they do stack. So it should be about 50%, because obviously his counterattack is still your attack damage, and I'm assuming so anyway.
Well, the point is, though, and then especially with not having a Savage Mace on Clanks, I mean, not only is he not able to kill Swiftblade as likely, but he's going to be dealing a lot of damage to himself because of that. So, not getting the Savage Mace, I think, definitely was a big oversight here by Ganondorf.
I mean, it just shows you though how kind of impactful that this Madman is having. Though, if he's forced to buy ways to get rid of the Madman by running away, kind of thing, then you're sort of seeing how impactful this Madman has been, because he's actually prioritizing ways to get free of the Madman than he is actually prioritizing the Savage Mace. So. Yeah, I have to admit, like, even though Oscar has kind of somewhat low GPM, only 350, he just had such a big impact just because of his item choices. They've been absolutely perfect. And he's even gone and built towards Abyssal Skull as well to sort of help the Swiftblade. Obviously, Swiftblade sold his Abyssal Skull, and now Madman's picked one up himself. So, yeah, just so smart play here from the Madman.
Yeah. Well, the hour-long game approaching. Unfortunately, we have a AFK apparently. Hopefully nothing too serious, and can resume here shortly, because not only hoping to finish off this match here in the near future, but we do got the one more now against Sync Esports waiting patiently by. Keep going back to Sync, on the other hand. Again, they've already qualified. They are 2-0. They beat both Steel Air Club and Reason Gaming so far, so no matter what happens for them, they'll be moving on. It would just be a matter of possible seeding at this point. If they, again, they're going to be playing Nullstone Gaming next. So, but we still need to figure out what ultimately is going to be the deal leading into that. Again, with this game finishing here, so apparently even AFK and just not even sure. All right, GG's. So yeah, we got the Onslaught here again next week. Tuesday, guys, we'll be coming back. So not much of a break here, obviously Monday, but Tuesday we'll be coming back, and that'll be our first round matchup of what is to be the bracket stages here of Onslaught. So look forward to that. In fact, it's already starting to be filled out. I'm actually looking at the brackets right here. Shout out to Inkling on top of that. So pull it up on screen for you guys to get an idea. Again, you go to HauntTour.com, the events tab, or you click on the portal for the Onslaught. You can see. No, don't want that. There we go. You can see right here. So Shrek is Love and Fresh. Again, the two teams moving on out of Group B. That's how the matches will look. So the number 1 seed will face Shrek is Love out of Group A, which again could likely be Sync Esports. And then the number 2 seed, which we're still up in the air about, will then take on Fresh. And again, that will be a double elimination, best-of-3 series all the way to the Grand Finals, where I believe the Grand Finals will be our typical best-of-5 with a 1-0 advantage for the winner bracket team. And again, $3,000 prize pool on the line here. So some good money, but also some good activity and good content for us, and of course good practice, especially for what was supposed to be Sync Esports and BMG, but again they got knocked out. So unfortunately, going to have to do the scrimmage thing to make sure that they're ready to go moving forward here. So still no resume just yet, though. Goes a little bit longer. May just go into a break ourselves here at this point. In fact, I think we're at that point. So let's go ahead and just take a short break, guys. Don't want to ramble on too much here. Got a whole lot going on, obviously. So stay tuned. Apparently, we're waiting on it. Just an AFK here. Hopefully, it shouldn't be too long. But we should resume here shortly. Solar Club versus Nullstone Gaming. Keep you guys updated if anything. But stay tuned, guys. We'll be back with this one-game series.